Yo, what up y'all? Just want to try to do like a quick tutorial on how I program drums with the analog rhythm. I get a lot of questions about my workflow and programming drums and stuff. And I think I do like a lot of things that seem obvious to me, but weren't so obvious until, I did some exploring of my own on the YouTubes and checking out videos by people like Ivar Tryti. He makes like compositions on his Digitakt, really sick videos, like super great compositions, but he also does a really good tutorial that I recommend everybody to try out if you have an analog rhythm. And that's his tutorial called like My Approach to Making Drum Loops. I think I'll link it in the description, but like that like unlocked a lot of things for me, and he's doing it all on the Digitakt. So if you have a rhythm, you're trying to figure out your workflow, I highly recommend checking out like some cool Digitakt videos, because that's just like a more popular drum machine, I think. And there's a lot of like good resources on that. So highly recommend that. Just think of your rhythm like a Digitakt Plus, like you've got the sample engine, but you also have a little something extra. I don't want people, gunning for me in the comments. It ain't a Digitakt Plus, but it kind of helps me to like think of it that way. So anyway, without further ado, let's break it down. What we got like a blank project here. Nothing really going on. So what I usually do first is I sit down, I make some cool patches, right? I won't bore you, make the patches right now, but I got a selection in my sound manager. Let me just go to, I think in this bank. Yeah. So I got about half a dozen patches here, and I'm gonna go. You bring up the second menu here, clicking right, copy to, first option, sound pool. Pick that. Now I think a lot of people when they come to this drum machine, they usually they get the cool patch, they get a cool kick on track 1, cool snare on track 2, you got your hi-hats, you got everything on different tracks, and then they kind of sequence up, a drum groove with these like parallel tracks going on. But what I like to do, because it gives me more flexibility and like availability with other voices on the drum machine, I like to just, start with dedicating one voice to a drum groove, And this is kind of like, I program it linearly rather than having parallel tracks like with different sounds. I got one track doing all these different drum parts in series and like in a linear way. Let's check out the sound pool and the patches we've loaded into there. You can access it by hitting the track button twice, and that's how you like bring up your like the drive with all your patches saved. But if you press left and then view pool, now we're looking at what's loaded into our sound pool, and this is only relevant for this particular project on the rhythm. And in our sound pool, I loaded a snare, kick, rim shot, just normal clap, like a shaker percussion sound, and kind of like a 909 tom. Just has two oscillators, like a fifth or maybe a fifth or a fourth apart from one another, some kind of harmonic interval. Anyway, now we don't even have to load any of those onto the track that we want to make the drum groove on, because the idea is we're gonna sound lock each of the trigs so that the rhythm configures the analog engine on the fly to whatever sound is in the sound pool and the trig set to. We do that by like holding down the trig, turning the track level, and this allows us to access any of the sounds in the sound pool. We can set the first beat of the measure to the kick, because I mean that's pretty natural, right? Kick it off with a kick. Let's turn these off for now. And then I could just, we copy, paste those kicks to different trigs. These would probably sound fine. You could get pretty experimental, just throw them down without looking. That's the beauty of everything being on a sequence grid. And then we want to throw down some snares. Naturally, that would be like on the 2 and the 4. Pretty traditional, straightforward beat. So you hear how like the engine's really like reconfiguring itself and like doing a kick, doing a snare, like within like a pretty small, like you could hear that's like a small interval, just a 16th note between them. And if you keep your envelopes tight, there won't be any like clicks or weird transients. It's pretty reliable sometimes. Like of course there's some weird patches you could do where like you got to be careful with the envelopes because you'll get a click sound as the engine reconfigures. But yeah, I've had some good experiences just with like patches like we're using here. Let's throw a shaker down on like all the other notes. So it's like 16th note divisions. Shaker is good to kind of like just fill it out in general. And then once you have a sound on every trig, you can then start getting crazy with the parameter locks, you know, and like making it more expressive and stuff. So let's hear how that sounds. Now this is what I mean by like linear programming with the rhythm, because it's all in series, the sound interrupts, like for instance, the kick is interrupted by the shaker. The shaker will be interrupted by the snare or whatever sound is on the trig that follows. So you end up getting kind of, it's pretty choppy, like really quick transients, fast paced, high energy, and it almost kind of comes off like how programming with a tracker tends to go, I think. I've never used a tracker personally. I've heard some people say it's like, oh, like this is kind of like a tracker style to program. And I think that's why it's pretty easy to emulate like those Warp record artists, IDM guys, Aphex Twin, Square Pusher with this kind of approach, because like it is very tracker. And especially when you like, I guess, confine yourself to making sure you have like a different sound on every single trig. So let's just like start throwing some different sounds on all the other trigs. Rim shot there, like just don't even think about it. Just have fun, see how it comes out. I mean, it won't sound too musical at first, but then you could refine it into something that you like. You see, it's cool. I mean, it's not that focused, but you could like I said, refine it. And you can also throw down like parameter locks. And the parameter locks don't reconfigure the sound in your sound pool. It still stays the same. Just for that trig, like certain parameters are, yeah, whatever you lock them to. It's great on like shakers. You want to like get different kind of like change the filter like I'm doing here, throw on a band pass, put it in different like frequency ranges, put it up at like high, put it in the mid range in the 60s. And then just like, I'm just gonna do a couple more, just to give you the idea. Let's see, we got a kick there. Yeah, we can make this kick kind of like deadened with the low pass. Yeah, it already has some resonance, but whatever. We have this snare here, we could change the snare engine, like change the tuning on it. Make it go super high, a bit more noisy. Just throw like a bunch of reverb on that hit. What else we got? More shaker stuff. Some resonance there. Maybe a little envelope. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to get something that, I don't know if I'd say it sounds impressive, but it sounds like something. It fills out the sound. And that's just one track. Now you got all your other tracks open to do other drum stuff, like similar complicated grooves. I mean, yeah, I usually, you know, do this so I could like reserve the others for bass lines and melodic stuff. And it still like kind of fills out the track even though you only have maybe one voice dedicated to like a traditional drum groove. We just like balance that out, or fill that out with like 3 more measures. Go to the last one and you could do like a fill, you know, with the toms we got loaded up. Let's do like, tune it here. Start high, let it go down low. See there with the, throw some retrigs on it. Just like, not have to do it every single time, right? Did I get the, oh shit. Let me show you. Yeah, my like recording setup's kind of crazy, so bear with me. Sorry. Let's see how this sounds. I mean, this is really obviously just like a first pass, just trying to demonstrate things. But I think you could do something pretty musical with this method. And like I said, since it's tracker style, you could get like really crazy fills going on. The parameter locks are super powerful. So sound locks plus parameter locks is like the key to like, you know, everlasting happiness with your riddle, I'm telling you. So that's everything I wanted to demonstrate in this video. I hope it's a little clear what I mean, you know, like with this way of using sound locks to create this like linear drum pattern. And this is kind of like my step one of my workflow when I'm like coming up with kind of a wild groove. Sometimes, most times. If you have any questions or you want the project files, I'm willing to send you my project files, homies. So just hit me up in my email. Email's in the video description. Yeah, maybe I'll do some tutorials in the future. So constructive feedback is highly appreciated, because I know I probably fucking suck at this. I never done it before. Yep, thanks. Bye.